it's me, Justine, and today I'm going to be talking about something I did on the weekend, which was yesterday and the day before and the day before that. I went to a convention called Unity Days in Vancouver. You may remember that I went last year as well, and I just had the best time ever last time. Oh right, I didn't say what the convention is for. Unity Days is a convention for my favorite show called The 100. It's a CW show. It's on Netflix. It's amazing. Yeah, so I went last year, and it was just one of the best weekends of my life. I got to meet so many people from the show, and it was just amazing. I'm just going to be talking about my experience this year going to Unity Days, and yeah, let's just get right into it. So I bought tickets a while, I think in July, maybe the end of July. I bought tickets for Unity Days, and then I ended up winning a ticket around Christmas time. I gave it to my friend Michaela. Her and her mom got me watching the show, like at her house one day. Her mom was like, oh, I've heard a lot about this show called The 100, and then we were like, oh, let's watch it then. So we started it at her house, and I recognized Richard Harmon, who was in it, from like Bates Motel and a few other shows, and I was like, oh, that's cool, I know him. After that, they didn't continue watching the show, but I continued watching it and became obsessed with it. And I thought it'd be cool to bring Michaela along since I started watching it at her house. So she came along, and we left on the Friday, January 19th, I believe. We got to our hotel in Vancouver. It's just a ferry ride away from where I live, so it's not like really far, but I love going to Vancouver. It's so much fun. The convention was at the same hotel as it was last year, so it was like deja vu. It was really weird. So we got to our hotel and went to the convention, and we registered, and we got given these little bracelets. They looked like just like the ones last year, but the colors are like different, and it's the same kind of material and stuff. And I learned last year not to tighten these bracelets all the way on your hand, because then they'll be stuck forever because they don't come undone. And Michaela, she like tightened it, so now it's kind of stuck on her hand, so she'll have to cut it off. She probably has by now, but yeah, that's my souvenir. And then also that night I bought this Unity Days Unity Crew bracelet, which is cute. Friday, none of the cast was there, but there was like a panel with, I believe it was the Metastation podcast panel, so just some basically fans of the show who have a podcast, and they were talking about the show, and that was really interesting. And then the next day, Saturday, was the big day. So we went out for breakfast, and then we got back to the hotel, and we were gonna go up to our room quickly, and we saw Jared Joseph and Nadia Hilker, who are from the show. And I was like, oh my god, they're right there. And then we got in the elevator with Nadia, and she was really sweet. She said hi to us, and she seemed really excited. And I was like, or after we got off the elevator, I was like, Unity Days has officially begun. Then we got to the convention, and they had the like welcome panel. And for the Saturday, Eliza Taylor, Bob Morley, Nadia Hilker, and who else was there? Oh, and Lindsay Morgan. They were the main like guests of that day, and then there were some bonus guests there who were there both days except one of them, Chris Larkin. He could only come on the Sunday. So yeah, the first panel was great. It was with like Eliza and Bob and them, and that was, yeah, a great panel. And then after that, it was supposed to be a Jason Rothenberg panel. He's like the creator guy of the show, showrunner, but he couldn't make it anymore. So they had a surprise panel, and Sachin, I think it's Sachin, I just always pronounce it wrong. I'm sorry, Sachin. But he walks out on stage, and then after him, Richard Harmon walks out, and he wasn't supposed to be there. He was there last year, and I met him, and I was like, yes. Like, I was thinking before the convention, I was like, if Richard shows up, then it'll be perfect. And he showed up. And then after he showed up on stage, they brought out Tati Gabrielle, who is also on the show. She plays Gaia. And that was like, I was not expecting her to come at all, and I ended up meeting her. I actually got some pictures printed today from the convention. Here's the picture with Tati. She was so sweet. I love her. She was just so happy to be there. She ended up coming both days, and that's my mom. We both met her, and yeah, she was just great. Later on that day, I was going to meet Bob Morley, who was at the convention last year, but I didn't officially meet him. I like walked by him and his dog. So I was like most excited to meet him. And yeah, I walked into it was one of the professional photos. I walked in and I hugged him. I said, "So great to meet you." And he said, "Yeah, it's so great to meet you too." And I was just so excited, and me and my mom, you know, we posed or whatever. And then he I think the photographer was gonna take another picture, and Bob was like looking over at me, and I was like, should I look at him too, like for the photo? Like, I didn't know what to do, so I just kept looking forward and smiling, but then in the corner of my eye I was like looking over at him. I was like, why is he looking at me? And then that didn't end up showing up in the photo. I'm glad it didn't, because I probably looked like really dumb and like confused. But the photographer ended up having to take like 3 photos because my mom blinked in one. And she was like, "Oh no, I blinked." And then the photographer was like, "Yes, you did, ma'am." And Bob was like, "Oh, it happens, it's fine." And then, yeah, my mom told Bob to not get killed on the show, and he said he'll try. So, yeah, that was great meeting him. For some reason, like, we got the one photo printed, and then yesterday we were at the convention, and I had met Bob the day before yesterday, and the people at the booth handing out the photos were like, "Oh, isn't this you as well?" And they handed us 2 more copies of our picture with Bob, so we got 3 copies. But here it is, our picture with Bob Morley. I love this picture. This is probably my favorite picture out of all my pictures. But yeah, he was just such a nice guy. I'm so glad I got to meet him. A lot of stuff happened. I can't even remember everything that happened. Something I remember from one of the panels that happened that day was Sachin. He called Paige Turco, who plays Clark's mom on the show, Abby. I love her. I really wanted her to come to the convention, but she didn't. But I was so glad he called her. He was like, "Oh, does anyone want to ask Paige a question?" And someone ran up, and they were so excited. I think they were a big Abby fan. And they asked her, I think they asked what her favorite scene was to shoot, and Paige said the one where her and Kane kissed for the first time or something, and everyone was freaking out, and that was really cool. One of the really exciting moments of the panels. Also that day, on the Saturday, Chelsea Reese, who plays Harper, she called Chris Larkin, who plays Monty on the show, and she was like, "Oh, we're at Unity Days, and you're on speakerphone or whatever," and I think he was a little confused at first. Can't remember if it was him who was confused or Paige about what was going on. Like, one of them were like, "Wait, where are you?" Like, what's happening? I just remember Chelsea was like, "Oh, Jessica wants to ask you," or Jessica Harmon, she plays Nyla on the show. Chelsea was like, "Oh, Jessica wants to ask you a question," and Chris was like, "No." He just didn't want to talk to Jessica. But Jessica asked her question. She wanted to know what Chris would be wearing the next day, because she wanted to like dress up like Chris, because last year she did that, and I don't think he told her. I don't think she ended up dressing up like him. But yeah, that was really funny. And later on that day, I met Luisa de Oliveira. I think that's how you say it. I met her last year, but I didn't get a photo with her. So my mom and I got a photo with her this year, and she was so sweet. I think she remembered us. We got our picture, and she was like, "Oh, come in close," so we got close. Here's our picture with Louisa. She looks very different from her character in person to me. Like, if you haven't seen her character, Amori, you know, search her, and she looks different in person, I think. But yeah, she's so nice. She's like so like kind of soft-spoken and just really nice. What else happened on Saturday? Okay, so I was walking up the stairs with my mom and Michaela. I didn't realize that Sachin had walked by me, and I was like at the top of the stairs and he was at the bottom, and then my mom said hi to him, and I realized, oh, it's Sachin. And he said hi, and then he saw me like at the top of the stairwell, and he was like, oh, hey, you, how are you? And he had remembered me from last year when we got like a crazy picture taken with me and him, Richard, Katie Stewart, Lindsay Morgan, I think that was it. But yeah, and I like tweeted it to him and put it on Instagram, and he commented on it, and he seemed to really like that picture. So he remembered me from that, and he was like, oh, how are you? And it's so good to see you. And that was a really cool moment for me, because it's really cool when a cast member from your favorite show remembers who you are. We also saw quite a lot of cast members, the female cast members, in the bathroom on both Saturday and Sunday, mainly yesterday, Sunday. But on Saturday, we saw me and Michaela saw Nadia Hilker in the bathroom, and she was like, oh, what are you doing tonight? How are you? And someone told her that they were gonna go back to the hotel and sleep, and yes, that's what I did. Tried to sleep. And yeah, she's really sweet. She said, oh, I just love you guys, and everyone's so nice, and we told her that we love her and the cast, and it was really cool. So if you're at these conventions, like, the bathroom is the place to be. Later that night, we decided to go to the Cactus Club restaurant down the street from our hotel because it was so close. Earlier in the day, my mom had been saying, oh, you should find out where the cast is going for dinner and stuff. And I was like, no, like, I'm not going to ask any of them. They're not going to tell me. I'm not going to stalk them. I'm not like that. So we went to the Cactus Club, and we had a 45-minute wait for our table. So we sat outside on this bench, and then we see Richard Harmon and Tati Gabrielle walk out with some of their friends, I think. And I was like, oh, okay. So this is where they're going for dinner, the same place we're at. So that was cool. And we just sat there. Richard was walking back in, and my mom was like, hi, Richard. And he was like, oh, hey. And he walked in, and we said hi to Tati, I think, when she went in. And then more of the cast came out. I think it was Nadia and Sachin, maybe some more cast members, I don't remember. And they said hey, and then when they walked back in, Sachin was like, oh, will you be back at the convention tomorrow? And we were like, oh yeah. And that was cool. So it was just a coincidence that we happened to be at the same restaurant. I guess it makes sense because it was right down the road from the hotel. Also, I forgot to mention that day, since Richard showed up as a surprise guest, he did photos and autographs and stuff for free, which was really cool because he had to pay for like everyone else except him and Tati. Me and Michaela, we left my mom because she had to go do something, and we were waiting around the like photo area on that floor, and he came down and we got our pictures with him, and I was texting my mom, I was like, come down now. And then she showed up, and Richard had moved to another area to take the pictures and stuff. So I went in there with my mom, and I ended up getting another picture with him and got one for my mom, and I got him to sign my phone case. I forgot to bring my phone case down, but I did take a picture of it. Hang on. There's the phone case he signed. It's very cool, but it's starting to fade already, so stupid Sharpie. Here is one of my pictures with Richard. That was the first photo I got with him. I'm very happy there. And then here's my other photo with Richard. So yeah, I was just so happy he showed up, and that was like a bonus. And then the next day was exciting because Marie Avgeropoulos and Zach McGowan and Tasya Tellis were gonna be there. Wait, and was there someone else too? Oh, and Sachin, because he wasn't supposed to be there the day before, but he ended up being there. Anyway, so they were the main guests of that day. And Marie, like, she doesn't do many conventions, so I was so happy she was coming to Unity Days. Like, Octavia, the character she plays, is one of my favorite characters on the show, so I was so pumped to meet her. So the first panel was with those four. Marie brought her dog Chewy, and I was hoping she'd bring him. He's this huge dog. I can't remember what kind of dog he is, but he has his own Instagram. I think it's called My Best Friend Chewy, so follow it. He was such a big dog. I was expecting him to be smaller, but he wasn't. And he like ran around the whole crowd. He came by us and then went back up on stage, and he just sat there or walked around on stage, and that was really cool that she brought him because it's like a pet-friendly hotel, so there were a lot of dogs there, like cast members' dogs. At around 12 o'clock we had a photo session with Marie, and she was so sweet. She was like, oh, are you guys mother and daughter? And we said yes, and she's like, oh, that's so cute. And we got her picture, and this is how it turned out. She's so pretty, like, I'm just so happy we met her. And it was funny, when we were taking this picture, her dog Chewy was like sitting in front of us, and he was coming up to us and trying to get in the picture, and she was like, no, Chewy, go away. And then after, I was like, oh, I should have asked her if we could have Chewy in the photo. And I noticed some people did do that. What else happened that day? Oh, so there were props there from the show that were really cool. I'll show some maybe on screen right now. But that was so cool just getting to see the props from the show. And the first prop I noticed when I walked in the room were Jasper's goggles. If you watch the show, you'll know, like, Jasper wore those goggles all the time, like in season 1. And I was just so excited to see Jasper's goggles. Later on, we were in the bathroom. Marie comes into the bathroom with one of Octavia's swords that she uses on the show, and she was like, oh, hey guys, and then she was with her manager, friend, whatever, and Marie walked into the bathroom, and as she was walking in the bathroom, she was like, oh, get one of them to hold the sword if they want. And the lady was like, oh, do you want to hold it? And we were like, yeah. So I held Octavia's sword or Marie's sword, Octavia, whatever, that she uses on the show, and Michaela held it, and then my mom came out of the bathroom. She was like, what, you're holding the sword? And then she held it, and then the lady like took it away pretty fast. She was like, I don't want the props guy to get mad at me. That was very cool. Like, that was one of the coolest moments for me, getting to hold that sword. Something else that happened in one of the a few of the panels, actually, a girl, I don't know her name, but if you're watching this, shout out to you, she got the cast to sing A Whole New World. I had to think about the name of the song. I don't know how I could forget, from Aladdin. And I think Louisa was kind of singing it, and I can't remember who else was singing it in that one panel, but it was really funny. And then the girl came back later on during Sachin's panel, and Sachin had a panel with some fans from the show. He like drew tickets for some fans to be in his panel, and I didn't want to be a part of that, so I didn't take a ticket. The girl was like, oh, will you guys sing A Whole New World from Aladdin? And so they put the song on, and Sachin and some of the girls on stage sang it, and that was really funny, and I've had the song stuck in my head since then. Another thing that happened in the bathroom, which was just cool for me, didn't have anything to do with the cast, but this fan of the 100 came up to me, and she was like, this may sound weird, but I was watching this video on YouTube about Unity Days from last year. Was that you doing that video? And I was like, yeah, that was my video. And she was like, oh, cool, I thought it was you. I just thought I'd ask. And then she left, and I was like, wow, someone recognized me from YouTube. But it makes sense because it was a Unity Days video, but still, that was the first time someone has recognized me from a YouTube video, so shout out to you. I didn't get your name, but that was cool. I can't remember a lot of stuff that happened. Just the cast was so hilarious. Like, Sachin is the funniest guy in my opinion. Like, out of everyone, he's just hilarious, crazy, and the kindest guy. Like, all of them were so nice, but he's just really nice. So I'm just so glad I got to go. I don't really, my mind's going blank right now on like what else happened. Yeah, like Jared Joseph, his dog, came up to me, and I said hi to his dog. That was cool. I saw his dog last year as well, and yeah, it felt like a family reunion almost. That's what some of the cast said as well, because like a lot of the people who went to this convention were there last year, so it's like seeing old friends that you haven't seen for a year. So it's just a really cool feeling at Unity Days. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It was just really cool. I got really sad. Like when I got home from the convention, it just started to hit me, like, well, plus I was really exhausted, so I was emotional, but I was like, wow, I just met this cast. Like, I met some of them last year, but just meeting them again and meeting the other cast that I love so much was just so cool, and I was just so happy that I got that chance. Not everyone gets this chance to meet their favorite people from a show, so that was just amazing. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up, but But thank you so much to Maya, I think it's Maya or Mia, still don't know, pretty sure it's Maya, and Leanna, who are like the runners, the creators of Unity Days. Thank you so much for putting this convention together, and also thank you to the cast, of course, and the crew of the show for coming to Unity Days. It was just so amazing. And apparently this was the last Unity Days, but Sachin is starting a campaign for there to be a third one. If anyone wants to tweet out the hashtag like UD3 or Unity Days 3, then you should do it. I just want this to happen. I want it to be an every year thing. Like, to look forward to every year. Oh my god, I just realized I didn't talk about meeting Zach McGowan. Oh, I'm so stupid. Wait, was there anyone else? No, okay. I'm sorry. Hang on, I'm not done here. So, we met Zach McGowan yesterday. He played King Rowan on the show. Spoiler alert, he's dead. And we got a selfie with him, and here it is. He's such a nice guy. My mom said to him, like, oh, I'm so sorry to see you go on the show, but maybe they'll bring you back somehow. And he's like, I don't know, you never know. And it's funny because my mom didn't realize he was dead on the show. She forgot. And then I like searched it to double check, like to prove to her, and it said status deceased. Okay, now I'm gonna wrap this up. So thank you so much to everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you went to Unity Days, let me know in the comments below, like who your favorite cast member you met was, how your experience was. I'd love to hear about it. Yeah, I hope you all have an amazing day. Bye.